The city is covered in snow tonight. Where did my love go? Santa, I'm waiting for him, but he's nowhere inside. And all of the presents are still by the tree. They don't mean a thing till he's here with me. If you know where it is, please.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, The Baking Diva. Well, I'm all in character today for Christmas. I have my I Love Santa shirt on, and I have my Diva antlers on, and my little ornament earrings, so we're all ready to get up and go. So thank you for returning to my channel, and a big shout out to all my new subscribers. Well, it's cookie season for the Diva now, so what am I gonna make for you today? Well, today I'm making for you a grown-up Christmas cookie. That's right, this is a cookie for the grown-ups, and it's awesome. And the name of this cookie is Brown Butter Bourbon Pecan Chocolate Chunk Cookies. Now that is a big mouthful, but they are delicious. And these cookies are perfectly fine to freeze if you like. So anyway, I think we should get started. What do you think? All right, let's get started. To make these cookies, beforehand, you have to make your buttered pecans, and I'm going to show you how to do those. And then you have to make your brown butter, and I'll show you how to do that. So once you make both of those things, you're ready to start mixing all your other ingredients together. Now don't get nervous and think this recipe sounds complicated. It's not. As long as you make those two things ahead of time, you have a little time in between to get your other ingredients ready, and it's really not hard, and they're really well worth it. So here we go. Okay, before we get started with the recipe, we have to do a few preparations. So we're going to take pecans and we're going to chop them finely. I have 1½ cups here. And then over here in my frying pan, I'm going to melt some unsalted butter. And it's melting now. We're melting 1½ tablespoons of unsalted butter. So what we want to do first of all is butter our pecans. So I'm going to put the pecans in the pan, stirring occasionally for about 4 or 5 minutes until they're lightly toasted, and then I'm going to set them aside for later. So let me do that now. So they're in the pan, I'm stirring them occasionally. And once I get them coated and lightly browned, I'm going to take them out and set them aside until it's time to use them later on. This is what they should look like after you've browned the pecans. Now I'm going to put them in a bowl and just set them aside. Okay, we did our first preparation. Now this is our second one. These are the two things you need to do before you start making your cookies. Now I have 2 sticks of unsalted butter in this saucepan. I'm going to start stirring it constantly for probably about 3 minutes because we want to brown our butter. Okay, I've been stirring the butter constantly, and I can see it's brown. You'll be able to tell. And if you see any little pieces on the side of the pan, you definitely want to use them because they're what makes these cookies yummy. So I'm going to pour my browned butter into a oven-proof, radio-proof container. I'm going to use the little Pyrex cup I have over here.
And then this is going to go in the refrigerator for a couple of hours because you want it to get at room temperature. And how will you know if this brown butter is at room temperature? Because when you touch it with your finger, it'll make a little indentation. So for the next 2 hours, you can do whatever your little heart desires. You can get your other ingredients prepared. I'll take a shower, relax, have a cup of coffee, whatever you want. So these are the 2 small steps you have to prepare before we start making our cookies. But trust me, they are well worth it.
All right, I put the buttered pecans aside because we don't need them now, and I put my brown butter aside because I don't need them now. But I need a mixer. You can either use your hand mixer or you can use your stand mixer. I'm going to use my stand mixer. But before we get to that part, I'm going to use a large bowl. So you will, during the course of this cookie baking, you'll need a large bowl with a whisk, and you'll need either a stand or a hand mixer. Now you will preheat your oven to 375 degrees, and you'll take you'll take 2 cookie sheets and you'll line them both with parchment paper. All right, so step 1, we have our large bowl, and in the bowl I am going to put 2 1/3 cups of all-purpose flour. Now, this is important. Don't pack down your flour in there. Just loosely fill it up to the top. No packing. So we have 2 1/3 cups of flour. Goes in our large bowl. So I'm putting that in now. And I do have to glance over for a minute and look at my ingredients because I want to make sure I tell you the correct amount. So now we're going to add to that our flour we have in there. We're going to add our salt. And I have my salt in here. It's 1 teaspoon of salt. Now we're going to put in there 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. And next, we're putting in there 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Alrighty, so they go into our first bowl. And just take your whisk and just whisk all of those ingredients together. So that's what I'm going to do for you now. Pretty easy so far. Now I will say these make very large cookies. They're not like little tiny cookies. So when we get to that part, I'll explain it to you. Makes about, this recipe I think yields about 2 dozen cookies, but they're nice sized cookies. All right, so we have all of this whisked together. That looks good. All right, so I'm going to put this aside over here. Now I'm going to take my stand mixer, and what we're going to do in our electric mixer, fit it with the paddle attachment, is we're going to combine the brown butter we made. So let me get that out of here. This is our brown butter. Remember, I had put it in the refrigerator. I had put it in the refrigerator so it would come to room temperature. So let me get that in there. Okay. So, alrighty. We have all the brown butter in there. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, after I get the brown butter in here, I'm going to put both of my sugars in. Now this recipe calls for dark brown sugar, and it calls for your regular white granulated sugar. So I'm going to put in here 1 cup of dark brown sugar, and I'm going to put in 1/2 cup of white granulated sugar. And once I get the sugar in with the brown butter, I'm going to beat them on medium speed until they become light and fluffy. So here we go. Maybe if the Diva was smart, she would plug in her mixer. Stay tuned. Okay. Live YouTube. My mixer is now plugged in. So I'm gonna whip this up and beat it till it's light and fluffy on medium. So here we go. There we go. Okay. Don't go away, I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. So you're gonna beat that for probably about 2 minutes because you do wanna make it light and fluffy and the brown butter will turn a lighter brown. All right, now we're gonna add to it vanilla. So I have my vanilla that I'm going to put in there, and this is 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And now comes the grown-up part. We're gonna add to this a little bit of bourbon. Now, I'll make you laugh when you see this. We have a big bottle of bourbon down by our bar. Hasn't been opened yet, and it's old. And this recipe only calls for 2 tablespoons of bourbon. Bourbon is a whiskey, so we thought, why open that bottle, that old bottle, for just 2 tablespoons of bourbon? So look what we have, a little baby bottle of Jim Beam Kentucky Straight Whiskey Bourbon. So we're gonna open up this little baby and put 2 tablespoons of the bourbon in there to make it our grown-up Christmas cookies. So here we go. Woo! Mmm. Okay, here's 1 tablespoon. 2 tablespoons. Look at that. Didn't even use up the whole little baby bottle. Maybe a little more than half. That's about it. So we have our bourbon in there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to beat it up again until it's all combined. So here we go. I'm having fun making these. We're going to add 2 eggs to this. The eggs should be at room temperature, so make sure you take them out and let them sit for a while before you start, making this. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 1 egg in at a time, and we are going to just beat it. And then after about 15 seconds, we're going to put the other egg in and continue beating it. And then we'll turn our mixer off. So let me get the 1 egg in. All right, mix that. That brown butter smells good. So we'll give it about 15 seconds and then we'll put the other egg in. This is a very unique cookie, and like I call it the grown-up cookie because of the bourbon in there, but I think if you make this for your guests, they're going to love it. It's perfect for Christmas. Here goes our other egg, and let me mix that in. And we have all that mixed in, so I'm going to lower my mixing bowl and take this off. I'll try to hold it up so you can see the how creamy it is and the color it's become. This is a great blend of some unique flavors in here. Now, I'm not a drinker of alcoholic beverages, but I do love these cookies. All right, so let's move that over. All right, here, I'll try to hold it up. Hopefully you can see a little bit of what it looks like. There you go. See, it's become like a lighter brown color than it was before. All right, now let me move my mixer out of the way and let me get my flour mixture over here that I mixed before. Using a wooden spoon, which is what I have here, because you want it to be sturdy, you have to gently fold in your flour mixture, let me reverse these, into your wet mixture. You only want to mix it until the flour starts to disappear. So you don't want to be going crazy in there. So, I'm going back over here again. Let me mix some of the flour in. I'm going to do do a little bit at a time. And I'm going to just gently fold it in until you'll start to see, because the wet mixture absorbs that flour and it almost looks like it's dissolving in there. So you just want to be able to not see the flour any longer. What I'm going to do is, these are chunk cookies, so you can either take chocolate and chop it up into chunks, or what I did is I bought a bag of the Nestle's Toll House semi-sweet chocolate chunks, not the morsels, they're the chunks. And you're going to add these in now. Okay, and you're also going to add in the pecans that you browned in the beginning. So we're adding the chunks in and the pecans. Whoopsie. There we go. All right. Now I'm going to take my spatula and I'm going to gently incorporate the chocolate and the pecans. Oh, does this smell heavenly? In that batter. Mmm. Look at that. Wow. You see how they're coming out, how it's coming out? You're just folding it into the batter. So let me just continue to do that and I'll show you what we do next. These are going to be delicious. Diva-licious. Okay, so I have the pecans and the chocolate chunks incorporated into my cookie batter. And now I'm taking my parchment lined cookie sheet. Now I just washed my hands. You're gonna use clean hands. It's gonna be a little sticky. And you're gonna make balls out of this. And these are generous balls. I would say almost what like a quarter of a cup would be. The dough is gonna be very sticky. So you're gonna roll a ball in your hand. Very gooey. And you're going to place it on your cookie sheet. Now, this is optional. You can place a pecan half on top of this if you like. So I bought a little bag of pecan halves. So I'm going to do that now because I think they taste good and they look good. So just press it right down onto the top of your cookie. But like I say, if you don't choose to do that, that's up to you. So you're going to continue rolling these. Make sure you leave enough space in between each cookie because they are going to expand. There we go. Very gooey. And another pecan on top of that. So I'm going to continue rolling these. And then I'm going to put them in my preheated 375 degree oven for approximately 9 to 10 minutes. You want them to start to be like golden around the sides, but still a little soft in the centers. And also do not put both cookie sheets in the oven at one time. With this particular recipe, you want to do one cookie sheet in the oven at a time. So let me keep doing this, and when I get them out of the oven, I'll show you what they look like, and of course the Diva is going to do a taste testing, so stay tuned. I just took the cookies out of the oven. I had them in there for 10 minutes. Now the recipe does call for you to sprinkle a little bit of sea salt on the top of each one as soon as it comes out of the oven. If you want, it's optional on top of each one of these cookies. And you should let them sit for 10 minutes on this baking sheet before you transfer them to the cooling rack. So I'm going to let them sit and I'll be back in 10 minutes. Put them on the cooling rack and taste these babies. Don't go away. All right, I took my second tray of cookies out of the oven. I actually have another one in there. So look at the size of these cookies. These are big mamas. And I got to think about 18 cookies out of this recipe. So I hope you enjoy these grown-up cookies. They just have a unique taste to them, but they're delicious, really delicious. So if you enjoyed this video and you think you'd want to subscribe to my channel, I would love to have you. I would really appreciate it. Helps my channel to grow. Just go down below and hit the red subscribe. And there's a little bell there. If you hit that bell, it's a notification bell. And all it does is if it says all, every time I put up a new video, you'll get a notification. So, I want to thank you all for stopping by and checking out my recipe for the brown butter bourbon pecan chocolate chunk cookies. That's a mouthful, and these are a mouthful. So anyway, I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season. If you haven't started baking yet, get going. And I will see you all very, very soon. Wait a minute. What am I saying? I always have to do a tasting test on camera, right? So let me see. These are still a little too hot to take off. So let me try this little baby here. Delicious. They're crispy on the outside, but soft and chewy on the inside. They're delicious. Make these. Okay, everyone. Toodles.